our governing body. They never lie or deceive us. They never lie or deceive us. We can have absolute trust in the governing body.
Welcome back. Today we are talking about Montana. We're going to be talking a little bit about Gary Breaux and how he's made an impact on the Montana case. But he's confident in telling all the JWs out there that they never lie. They tell the truth. Do they? Well, imagine this. You're part of the jury. And that's what's coming up, folks. This Montana case is all getting set up for the jury. So imagine this. You're in the jury, and the judge comes up and says, okay, all the evidence presented will be from the plaintiff's point of view, the victims. We're taking that all as fact because the Watchtower has proven that they have disregarded and disrespected the courts, and they have been sanctioned with spoliation. Spoliation. So what's spoliation? Well, this is what's going on. The act of ruining or destroying something, the spoliation. The action of taking goods or property from somewhere by illegal or unethical means, the spoliation of the church. So it's really destroying records. This is what Watchtower did. They destroyed a bunch of records, and this is what led them to this spoliation. So we're just going to give Watching Watchtower a big thanks. And on their last video, they put out global charity sanctioned for spoliation of evidence. Jehovah's Witnesses destroy documents. Okay, so we're going to look at the court documents on this, and the court documents kind of spell it out, I think. Let me see, it's right here, right? Okay, so we have 3 court documents that were presented. Now I'll just blow them up here. This is court document 341. This is court document 342. And this is court document, I think it's 410 or something. 410, document 410. Okay, so I noticed document 410 and document 341, the first one, are pretty well say the same thing. But we'll take a look at them here. This first document that was filed recently, what was it, today, yesterday? It's about the same victims, Adrian Rowland and Jamie Schultz, the plaintiffs. I think they're all that. Adrian Rowland, Jamie Schultz. This is the difference of the third document. The third document is Tracy Kakert and Camellia Mapley. So we have a couple things going on here, folks. We have Adrian Rowland and Jamie Schultz. So let's look at the first one. Adrian, on this first one here, it's the same stuff that's been happening. These guys have a motion for sanctions for the spoliation of evidence. That's because Watchtower destroyed it. And yeah, they destroyed all the documents. It's right here. I'll post all this stuff. So let's just go right to the bottom, see what happened. Judge Waters is here. So regarding these two ladies, it's the same thing. The court finds the plaintiffs were prejudiced by the spoliation. First, as stated, there is a presumption that the destroyed evidence goes to the merits of the case, and further, that such evidence was adverse to the party that destroyed it, Watchtower. And further, although the records were summarized in the memorandums, you see, remember, Watchtower told all of its branches all over the world to destroy records and make memorandums, little notes. So the memorandums are not a substitute for the records themselves, which had more complete detail about the events at issue. And the preparation of any summary report based on a variety of records inherently calls for some culling in the drafting and the editing process. So that's what Watchtower did. They just took all the stuff out. And the court also finds the degree of fault is moderate, though certainly not bad faith, which could warrant dispositive sanction. As stated, Watchtower New York was on notice of potential litigation, yet destroyed the at-issue records. And given the high degree of prejudice and the moderate degree of fault, the court finds an adverse inference instruction is appropriate. So Watchtower does not take issue with specific language of the proposed jury instructions, and therefore the court will adopt the jury instructions as written by the plaintiffs. So there you go. Watchtower has to accept how the plaintiffs present this. What they say doesn't count now. They lost their credibility in court. And the conclusions: for these reasons, the plaintiffs, Adrian Rowland and Jamie Schultz, motion for sanctions for spoliation of evidence is granted. And the jury will be given the following instructions at trial: that the Watchtower, their legal department, was under obligation to maintain and preserve documents pertaining to the sexual abuse at issue in this case, and used by the service department to create the memorandums about Hain and Mapley and Sevenson. So there's a few people there. And number 2, those documents were destroyed after the memorandums were created. And number 3, the jury may infer the destroyed documents would have been unfavorable to Watchtower New York. Susan Waters. So that was signed on the 10th day of June, and today is June 11th. So that was yesterday. Wow. What a feat. Okay, we're going to move on to the next document. Okay, so the next document is 342, same people. And these guys went after Rowland, and these guys went after Gary Breaux and Alan Schuster. Do you remember those guys, Gary Breaux, Alan Schuster? Well, here he is again. Here's Gary Breaux.
Our governing body. They never lie or deceive us. They never lie or deceive us. We can have absolute trust in the governing body.
Okay. Thanks for that, Gary. We take that with a grain of salt after reading this document. Okay, well, what happened? We're going to go right to the bottom. And it kind of summarizes it. Judge Waters gives us a little bit of a summary here. We'll go right up here. Now, the court understands the plaintiff's frustration with the witnesses' testimony, Gary Breaux and the other guy, Sylvester, or whatever, Schulster. So, as it seems quite unbelievable that the witnesses who have held a high-level positions for decades in the entities, in the Watchtower, that the plaintiff seeks information about, suddenly they have no personal knowledge of the topics that the plaintiffs asks about. No knowledge, they said. And the court also recognized that Corrigal's conduct is questionable, like when she effectively testified on Schuster's behalf that Jehovah's Witnesses have no policies related to child sex abuse. Come on. However, without stronger evidence demonstrating Watchtower's counsel continued its legal relationship with the men for the purposes of their deposition, the court cannot impute any misconduct by them or Corrigal onto the Watchtower. Accordingly, the court denies the plaintiff's request for the sanctions for their conduct that occurred during those depositions. So these guys held silence. They wouldn't speak. They claimed they didn't know anything. So, they went after him. They exposed him in court. And the court's not going to do anything. You know, you charge these guys. You go after these guys for money. Do they really have money? No. So I think they're smart. I think the judge is smart here. Here's a conclusion. It is so ordered that the plaintiffs, Adrian Rowland and Jamie Schultz, motion for sanctions re-depositions of Gary Breaux and Alan Schuster is granted as to Watchtower's pre-deposition and conduct. So it's granted as to the Watchtower's So you see, they're putting the blame on the Watchtower. The Watchtower put these guys up to this. They know it. The court knows it. So who do you chase? You chase the guys with the big pockets, the guys with the money, the Watchtower. So it's granted. But the conduct is denied as to during the deposition. So these guys not saying anything, well, they're not going to get money out of them. They're not going to suck any money out of them, but they're going to go after the Watchtower. Yeah, good on them. So the Watchtower shall pay all plaintiff's expenses related to the Watchtower's motion for protective order and plaintiff's motion to strike and preparing the instant motion. So Watchtower, well, I guess the JWs have to pay. They have to sell a Kingdom Hall or something. It's not coming from the governing body's pockets, I guarantee you that. So number 3, the plaintiff's counsel shall file a pleading setting forth the amount of expenses and attorney's fees recoverable for their work related to the Watchtower's motion for the protective order and the plaintiff's motion to strike and preparing the instant motion. And the plaintiff's counsel shall also file an affidavit itemizing those expenses and fees within 30 days of this order. And Watchtower shall have 14 days thereafter to respond. And the court will then issue a second order specifying the amount of the sanctions award and the setting of time and payment. So remember, folks, the Watchtower's lawyer, Philip Brumley, already got sanctioned, charged $154,000 for lying and deceiving in this court. So now we have more costs coming, and again, these guys aren't paying it. So Brumley, he just goes up and they ask him questions that he knows the answers to, but he doesn't answer. You see, his hands are tied, he's saying, the court's saying, and it's the Watchtower's fault. So that's what's happening here. Okay, well, this third document is Tracy Cacart, or I don't know if I'm saying that right, Cacart, Camellia Mapley. And it's just 2 other people, same order, the sanctions, again. Same stuff, spoliation of evidence. So when they come to court, they come to trial, you're the jury. It's a different jury because it's different people. They have to do the same thing. The jury may infer that the destroyed documents would have been unfavorable to the Watchtower. And that's to the Watchtower, New York. These guys are going after the Watchtower, New York. That's what's different on this case. It's against the Watchtower, New York. So it'll be interesting, folks, to see what happens in the trial. They're getting prepped. It's all prepped to go. The jury, it's all motion, sanction. Watchtower's had their time to respond. It's all done. Spoliation of evidence gets you nowhere, Watchtower. Nowhere. So imagine this. Once this is all done in Montana, well, now we have a precedent. Just like Norway, we have a precedent. We have precedences. And now all over the world, they'll be accessing these databases to see how Watchtower destroying all these records, all these cases all over the world are hidden because Watchtower doesn't want to pay out for the losses that these victims faced as a result of their religion, their lack of responsibility, or their desire to control people to the point that they got the elders acting like counselors, family counselors. You see, in my opinion, all religions should be sending these issues over to certified family counselors. There's no one within the Watchtower elder bodies that are even qualified to deal with any of this stuff. So, folks, that's my 2 bits for today. And I guess what I usually say is keep living your life with love. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.
And what table can we trust? The table surrounded by our future kings, the governing body. Future kings, the governing body. By our future kings, the governing body. Our governing body. They never lie or deceive us. They never lie or deceive us. We can have absolute trust in the governing body. We can have absolute trust in the governing body. They meet all the criteria that Jesus gave us to identify them by.